Oh, welcome everybody. My name is Jay Hill. I am the host of Studio 6 Paranormal Podcast. Tonight I am in waiting, or how I say I'm waiting for Daniel Klaes, which is in the room. First off, I want to say that I'm in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, in the Maxwell Mansion Hotel. Um, this place has very. It's hard to describe. It's a boutique hotel that's very elegant, and it has a handful of spirits here that are very friendly, and so it's a great place to be. I want to thank Monica and Luke, the owners of this hotel, for having me and letting me do this live every weekend. So without further ado, let's get to Dan. Hey Dan,
Hi.
how are you?
Oh, living the dream.
Right. People don't know this is Daniel Klaes. He's with the Hinsdale House Restoration Project. And I am glad that you are on the show. And to get started, where exactly are you located
The I live in Buffalo, New York, but the Hinsdale House is in the southern tier of New York State. It's closer to Pennsylvania border, actually.
at? Okay.
Erie, Bradford area. So, but it's about an hour and a half south of Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, talked a little bit about the Hinsdale House Project. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've heard some people talk some great things about it. Yeah, can you fill in some of my listeners in this?
Yeah, I'd have to say that it's kind of a positive. You look at all the places that we investigate as paranormal researchers, and a lot of the times they get shut down or they get um, torn down and they're not there anymore. And this is one that was very close to meeting the wrecking ball.
Mm-hmm.
It was weeks away from being torn down. All the duct work, all the electrical was ripped out of it, and kind of jumped in there and kind of saved it at the last minute. And I feel like this house has like 9 lives because it's been through so much.
Right,
But it's
right.
needed a lot of work to get it to where it is today, and it's all been from support of the paranormal community, from all different countries,
Oh, wow.
coming there and researching the location. It's been like a dream of mine to be able to do what we've done so far and research it in depth. As opposed
Mm-hmm.
to just spending a couple hours at a location. We've had years now of continuous digging and diving and
Right,
searching, and
right,
we've
right.
been able to come up with some good answers, even looking at folklore.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about the history of the house itself? Because I am very curious in finding out what this house is all about.
What made it famous was in the 1970s. The house was purchased by Clara Dandy and her husband Phil. It was a land lease, so it was not owned by a bank. It was owned by the Reese Tree Farm in Hinsdale, New York, or in Cuba, New York. And when the family moved in, they started having activity that they couldn't explain happen at the location, poltergeist-like activity. They had things moving, scratches, just a lot of different things that were getting to the point where they were getting frightened. They were
Hmm.
seeing things on the outside of the house that they couldn't understand what they were, and then they were um, going outside to see what was there, and they would look in the window and see the thing in the window, these shadows. They saw creatures that they couldn't explain what they were, um, even UFOs. Just
Oh, wow.
speaking to her. I've actually gone and met with her in Oregon just to hear from her own voice.
Hmm.
All the things that happened. Their youngest daughter was affected the most by what was happening there. It was like it was after her the most, and they deemed it demonic
Right, right.
back in the 70s, and they consulted a priest from St. Bonaventure University. They also had a famous psychic by the name of Alex Tanis that was working with the priest.
Hmm.
Ed and Lorraine Warren were looped in, and to the point where they came there and they did a mass. Things died down for a little bit, and then it came back full force to the point where they had the Vatican a structural exorcism of the location in April of 1974.
Oh, wow.
They filmed it with a film crew
Hmm.
from New York City, and then did this structural exorcism where the family all knelt in a circle in the living room, and they said that the whole house shook while they were doing this and made a screaming sound.
Oh, wow.
And then after the structural exorcism, kind of like a cleansing of the house,
Hmm.
it died down, but then it came back again. And when she consulted with the priest again, he said, "I don't know what to do. My best
Hmm.
advice is for you to leave the premises." And they hightailed it out to California.
Holy
And
cow.
then families moved in and out of that location for years up until the 86, and then it sat dormant until I purchased it.
And how long was it on the market then? How many years?
It was on the market for a long time, almost 20 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me ask you, have you had a lot of mediums go through there since you've had it?
I have,
Okay.
and I open it up to any lay people,
Okay.
anybody that thinks that they can make a difference with the healing of the
Hmm.
property and the land, and what they may see. Maybe somebody specializes in something different, but I
Right.
feel like there's a lot of layers at this location,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and it's not going to take just one person,
Right.
because they've tried that. So
Right.
it's actually taken, you know many different people coming there and doing healing.
Hmm.
I've had witches there, I've had shamans there, I've had Buddhists there, I've had priests there, I've had, regular mediums, like that don't have any denomination, that can lend
Right.
their healing hand to the property and what they do. And
Hmm.
um and a lot of them see the same things, but different things, but
Right.
some focus on one, some focus on other. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of layers that need to be overturned there, in
Right.
order for the property to be
Hmm.
happy. And
Right.
I think the houses just, was plopped on a piece of property it has so much history to it, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
blood soaked in the soil. I mean, you're
Yep.
talking Native Americans, you're
Yep.
talking, and we've uncovered things that will
Hmm.
say that they were
Right.
there.
Right.
So
Yeah, and me being a medium myself, and I've been drawn to the Hinsdale House, but I know there's like one negative entity that sticks out in me in my mind a lot,
mhm.
and um and I could see it as a black mass, and yeah, it's just, and I tell people who go there, it's like, make sure that you guard yourself a little extra, just because, you know what I mean. The house itself, I mean, there's so many, like you said, there's so many different layers, and I can sense that, and I really would like to visit that, but to be honest with you, it's a little scary. I mean, it's an awesome house. I mean, and I'm sure that you could probably learn a lot from the history um, aspect of it. And like when you said that you had different, like the Buddhists and the priests and all that, different with the different layers. And I think that that is probably the best avenue to take, just because of the fact that a lot of this stems from what I think and I feel is the land itself,
Yeah.
and it's just a collection, you know, and so yeah. But I mean, I think a lot of people can learn a lot of things about this place, and to be honest, I mean, a lot about themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the paranormal field happens to bring out different things in people that they didn't really realize, and yeah, so it's just, there's different places like that. Have you ever been to a place like the Hinsdale House or something that's similar where you like, hey, this is
Yeah.
remnant of the Hinsdale
Yeah,
House?
there's another location in central New York called the Virgin House that kind of has a similar, not a similar backstory, but similar, lots of layers of stories associated with this house,
Hmm.
and kind of similar kind of reactions that we get. And I feel like there's a lot of, I mean, that house hasn't even been tapped yet.
Right.
It's such an active location. And that's what really stood out for me about the Hinsdale house, going there as an investigator, is that I could just plop down any piece of equipment and it would go off. It was like it was trying to reach out to me. It was like it was trying to tell
Hmm.
me something, like
Hmm.
it needed its voice to be heard.
Hmm.
And I think that it got the right person,
Right. Right. Oh
because
yeah.
it was that's what Clara said too. She goes, ultimately that house was going to be ours, she said.
Yeah.
And for me, all things fell into place the way it was supposed to, because
Mhm.
on any other given day, I probably wouldn't be able to buy this house. I had just
Right.
bought a new house for my family, didn't have very much money left,
Right.
and somehow everything just fell into place with what I needed in
Right.
order to find a mortgage. And it was a crazy,
Right.
crazy leap of faith for me because that needed a new roof. It needed a
Right.
lot of structural stuff done to it, as
Hmm.
far as because there was 500,000 honeybees living in the floorboards
Oh,
in
wow.
one room, and so it was a big leap of faith. And
Right.
the paranormal community really came together as far as helping out with the location. And
Hmm.
all those people that you meet, you just kind of pray and hope that things will work out. They all 63 people showed up on one day and helped paint, scrape,
Oh,
and
wow.
before the summer was over, get the roof done so that it
Right.
wasn't leaking. I mean, there was a black mold all throughout the kitchen, and like I said, it's been a labor of love.
It
Um,
sounds like it. Yeah. I
you
mean, it
know,
really sounds like it. So what do you have going on in the works recently? I mean, is there something that in particular that you're working on, or are you just sticking with the Hinsdale House, or are you doing other investigations, or are you having lined up?
well, I mean, I'm also with the team, the Ghost Finders.
Okay.
We've been constantly filming, not constantly, but we've been filming throughout the whole COVID pandemic.
Hmm.
It's easier because we're not union workers and we can film our own show with small groups of people. I've
Hmm.
also been working on Death Walker, Nick Groff's new show.
Right. Yep.
So I've been involved with producing that as well, and we're
Okay.
working on that right now as far as editing goes and getting it ready to get over to the networks to show it. So
Hmm. Hmm.
it's very time, because he's a perfectionist with everything that we do,
Right. Right. Right.
and it's very time consuming, as
Right.
far as that goes. So with COVID, it feels like I got busier,
Yeah.
um, and literally, like, even like, because you had to spread out the groups, you had to kind of go by what the rules were
Hmm.
with the CDC, and there was a time where no money was coming in. Everything was getting canceled, and it was like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to keep this house afloat? And then all of a sudden they started, okay, you can have groups of 5, you can have groups of 10, 6 feet apart or whatever. So we started doing really small tours, a
Hmm.
lot of them.
Right. Right.
And then things, now it's busier than ever because on all private bookings, all the ones that canceled, rebooked, and plus new ones. So
Right.
it's fun, like we're going down there 4 or 5 times a week,
Hmm. Hmm.
letting teams in for investigations.
Right. How far is it from where you live?
Buffalo, about an hour and a half.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's a big leap of faith.
Yeah, I mean, I have, thank God, I have a group of people that are associated with me that can help out, that are close there.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's fun. It's like I said, it's like karma and how things can work out. I have a lady that lives 20 minutes away. I have a lady that lives right down the street. But the neighbors didn't like me at first.
Really?
Well, you gotta think about it. So Hinsdale, it's a community where you probably go to retire.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
a community in the mountains. Uh, your neighbors are, you know, 500, 600 yards from you. You're
Hmm.
not close to anybody, and people like peace and quiet when you're in the country, in the
Hmm.
mountains.
Right.
And
Right.
here we have this house that's drawing a lot of attention to the town and to the neighbors, and I had death threats. I had
Oh, I was
people.
just going to ask you, what kind of pushback have you had? But I think you just answered that.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
had at the beginning I did,
okay.
and I actually I had a guy threatened me with a shotgun on Facebook, and I said, "Oh my God," and I said, "How do I deal with this type
Right.
of thing?" And I just kind of went with my gut, and I
Hmm.
and I just sent him a message, and I said, "Listen," I said, "I don't know what you think," I said, "but I want to be a good neighbor to you," and I um, just kind of asked him for ideas and what he ideally would want down there and what he thought I wanted to do with the location, because I think the perception is that I wanted to turn this into a fun house, and I
Mm.
wanted to have
Yeah.
like hundreds of people coming there and just put it on a pedestal and not really
Right.
care about anybody that was surrounding me, and that was further from what
The
I was
truth.
doing.
Right.
So
Right.
I made it a point to be involved with local community events, the garlic festival, all the little events where I could actually speak to the community and let them know that I just wanted to restore a location that has some great history to it. And the teams that come up there are going to all go through me. Everybody has to speak to me before they can even come to the location.
Right.
And that's just the way it's going to always be.
Right.
And then they take care of it. And I'll say that like the paranormal community is more caring about the location than, and if I was just having an Airbnb or something, like they
Right.
come in and they care about the history, they care about the stories, they care about preserving it and getting evidence and trying to
Right.
help out with the place. So I mean it's awesome. So none to say the less. Now the Hinsdale House sponsors the guy that threatened me with the gun. We sponsor his race car now, and he's this big man. I'm glad I'm on his side. We're friends now because he's like a big 400-pound dude, and he's
right.
and there's been a couple times where I've had like trespassers on the property, and I'll call him. I'm like, Rich, I go, I got the alarms going off, and I got video of a car in the driveway. And he goes, I'm on my way, and he gets in his truck and he drives down the street, and he's like, and he'll call me. He just screwing me through. The one time he's like, I got him blocked in. What do you want me to do with him? And there are a bunch of people checking it out, like, so, it's good. It's good to have that type of personality.
So a potential life-threatening situation turned into a friendship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about talking with people and talking things out and perception of what they think into what you think, and then just mixing those worlds together and making people understand what your end goal is. I mean, now it's to the point where Cattaraugus County brings me in. They've brought me in the past to speak to the legislators about tourism and
oh wow
and they paved the road all the way up the hill. It was a dirt road when I first got it. Now it's a paved road. It's like they're rolling the red carpet out for the place, because I mean, I was able to show them statistics. Like I was able to show them like this many people came in for tours, this many people came from out of state, this many people came from out of country, and they're staying at the hotels and they're eating at the restaurants, and it's a college town. So to be able to show them those type of numbers in a year was really impressive, as far as bringing in tourism to the and I also, promote other locations too in the area. Wildwood Sanitarium, which is about a half hour away, we book together, we work together.
Oh wow! So you've got your hands full.
That's just one of the things I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're probably always busy.
I try to balance the best that I can, like, because family first. That's why I'm home. That's why I'm home right now, is because I would have been doing this with you on the road, but like family comes first, and I had something come up with family that I needed to stay home this weekend. So
hey, see how it worked out.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about when did you remember the first time that you really got into the paranormal, or kind of like your first real valid experience that you had?
When I was a child. I mean, they even did a TV show on it with me and my sister and I, on Travel Channel, called My Paranormal Nightmare, that you can check out. But I grew up in a haunted location, and it was like a whole life Scooby-Doo episode for me. Things would happen in our house, nothing malicious, just like things like we'd all be gone, and we'd come in and there'd be like crayon drawings on the ceiling, in our vaulted ceilings in our living room, and crayons would be sitting on the middle of the floor. My sister was a neat freak, and she always had her stuffed animals on her bed, and we'd often come home and animals would be sitting in the middle of the floor. I always got blamed because I was the only daughter. And the only part on the TV show that they got wrong in the reenactment was when my sister's stuffed animals were on the floor, and I said, "Oh, Laura, I'll help you pick those up." Yeah, I never told her that. Like, pick up your own animals, but creepy things happen like that. My other sister had an instance that happened too, where she felt like an energy pulled her away when she was getting electrocuted in that house. Like, so it was a positive energy. And it was to the point where I had left, and then I ended up buying that house back. I bought it from my parents when they were moving, and then my kids started experiencing some of the same things that I experienced when I was a kid. And I was able to go to Lilydale. I don't know if you're familiar with Lilydale. It's a spiritualist community in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and sit down with a psychic medium there. Her name was Ellen Bourne. And before I even gave her a dime or sat down at the table, she goes, honey, you have two children's spirits at the house, and they're attached to something of theirs there, that they're
Mm-hmm.
very proud of. And I said, oh, well, I said, damn, she answered all my questions before I even
Asked
told
them.
her anything, like
Yeah.
it's, and I, at that, I was like young, I was like in my early 20s, and I
Okay.
didn't even know if I believed in that yet until that I went there, and I was like, wow, so, um, we searched high and low in that house as to what it could have possibly been. My wife had said she saw a little girl on the stairs in a blue dress, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I thought I had seen a shadow person in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
My dog started barking like just out of the blue,
Mm-hmm.
and then one day I just one of the places I had never looked was up in the crawl space attic. It's like one of those little squares up on the ceiling, and then you have to like pop them open and get a ladder.
Right.
And I popped that open, and I put a flashlight around up there. It was so dusty, and I saw these boards on the wall. So I tiptoed over to the boards, and when I turned them around, it was a painting of a little boy and a little girl playing with a dog. And I was like, oh
Oh.
my god, oh my god, that there it is. Like
Yeah. Right.
everything's come to fruition. I also did the research on the house because I had the deed now, and I was able to find out there was a little boy and a little girl that died of cystic fibrosis from
Oh.
previous owner. And basically once we found that painting and we told them that they could go to the light, that there's nothing, that there's connecting them to go to their family, and it's I think it kind of helped them to cross over.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like they were gone, but it died down a lot. And
Right.
every now and then maybe they would come back and check in on us, but I don't know, I kind of feel like they're part of the family, like they've been around my life for so long. And my parents, even to this day now, acknowledge that, but they were saying they were trying to protect us as children, with what was going on there. But
Right.
that's the fact that I was able to figure that out at the place that I lived at, even though it took me so long, it got me interested in finding out more. So I
Mm-hmm.
started doing all the touristy stuff, and just started learning. I just started, going to Gettysburg, going to all the famous haunts and taking tours, and just picking up advice, talking to people, and then just became my own person, formed my
Right.
own group, and just started doing my own thing. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
continuous process, we
Right.
all
Oh yeah.
keep
Yeah.
learning, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's
Most definitely. Yeah.
it's been fun.
I've experienced this since I was a child myself. So yeah, I can totally relate to that. And then even though I tried to kind of avoid it or whatever, it always found me no matter what. But when I realized eventually that I was a medium, and then it was kind of like I opened that door, and then the floodgates came in, and then it's just like, so I'm like, okay, well, here we are, So it's just kind of been one of those things where I can relate to a lot of the things that you were talking about as a child, and this and that, and kind of seeing things and this and that. So, um, yeah, you spoke of Gettysburg. That's one thing on my bucket list. Is there something that in particular that you really liked about Gettysburg? No, I think I lost Dan. Mm, yep, I lost Dan. Okay, let me real quick. Anybody have any questions while they're watching this? I can answer any questions until Dan comes back. Hi, Rebecca, Jason, Ken, Evan, Cindy. What's up, Brandon? Yeah, we had a great show last night with Brandon Crody. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We had quite a bit of stuff happen. So um, yeah, yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was cat toys behind me are they haven't gone out really since I've been gone off since I've been here. So, but yeah, it's been interesting. Yeah, it's Cindy. It was. Yeah, that was awesome last night. I mean, that was one of those things where I'd like to be able to do that again. Um, you know, it's just been everybody's so busy. Yeah, Glenn, it was a great live stream. Sorry, folks, I'm still getting over a little bit of this cold or whatever I had. So, so yeah. Questions, anybody? Let's see. Let me see. Brandon, you're still planning on going out there to the Hinsdale House, right? All right. All right. There he is. Okay.
Sorry about that. I don't. Our internet just went down in my house just out of the blue. I'm
Oh
like, did
wow.
somebody do something? And nobody's there. Maybe the spirits didn't want me to tell the story.
I don't
I don't
know. I don't know if you heard what I was talking about. Gettysburg is on my bucket list, and I wondered what your um, most memorable thing of being there in Gettysburg of in like investigation or even just being there.
I mean, just being on the battlefield at night, just is just an amazing. You can just feel the energy. I mean, you as a medium, you're just gonna feel it all.
Right, right.
There's times that I've done walking tours. I've taken pictures and I've caught pictures of ghostly entities that look like soldiers in uniforms walking with us.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, I've been there probably about 5 times, and every time that I mean, there's different places to go. Every time that you go there, and there's
Right,
just so much blood soaked in the soil there,
right,
so
right.
much history,
Yeah,
and it feels like you're going into a twilight zone, kind of when
right.
you go there.
Yeah, and that, like I said, and that's one thing that I really want to do is to visit there. I mean, I have ancestral blood in there um, on the Confederate side, and um, and if I'm not mistaken, my ancestral is he's in one of the museums or somewhere. His name is so. Um, I just have this longing to, there's a lot of places I have longings to go to. It's just the fact that the financial means to do so. So, Me being in Wisconsin, I mean, it's not it's a maybe 12-hour drive, I think, to Pennsylvania to Gettysburg. So, but I do plan on going there. But I've seen
So
some
it
great,
sounds to me like you're making more excuses than anything.
right. Yeah, and
We
that
we
also,
only live this one life that we have to live it to our fullest.
you're right. You have a very good point there, Dan. Very good point. But I also have to go through the wife. So,
Oh yeah, well that's the boss. I have one of those too.
yeah. So, has there anything been happening recently that you've discovered any evidence that you were like, hey, this is some really good evidence I've gotten in a long time?
At the house or just in particularly?
In particular, anywhere.
I mean, even last week, last weekend we were at the old sixth precinct
Hmm.
in Detroit,
Okay.
and I was with Steve Hutley and his wife, myself, and we were doing an investigation there in the drunk tank.
Oh,
And we were using a Tesla coil to really charge the room.
oh, I saw that picture. That
Isn't
was
it
sweet. Oh
cool?
man, that was awesome.
I mean, I have a Tesla coil now,
Okay.
and I've used it to like charge stones, and
Hmm.
we've actually done tests with the stones where to see if they emit any EMF after you shut everything off, and there's
Hmm.
certain stones that'll carry that energy, which is really cool.
Well, that's
But
cool.
that was really cool because we kept getting the same different, well, the same two people were coming through
Hmm.
in the jail, and
Hmm.
it's like we were getting a story told,
Oh
and
wow.
we were doing a public tour, because it was a fundraiser for the location, but each group, it seems like we got a different piece of the puzzle, and every
Right.
group we energized that room, and I really love the theory of that, just putting those extra ions of energy into the room for them to grab and
Hmm.
able to communicate with us.
Right.
We were getting audible like thumping going on in the jails from that. We were getting EVPs. We were trying all different types of spirit communication while we were there. Also had a medium in the group too. So it was good to be able to get her perspective before we even said anything and just kind of
Now,
see
how many jails, as I should say, have you investigated?
jails.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would say a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking just off the top of my head, maybe 6, 7 of them.
yeah,
Maybe more, I mean, there's more.
yeah. The energy in a lot of the old jail cells and or the jails themselves is just it's kind of all over the place,
Yeah.
and but it's in my opinion, it's kind of like take your pick. I mean, because there's so much different energy. There's a old jail cell in Iowa, Council Bluffs, Iowa, where I used to live, and it's been featured quite a bit. I can't remember the name of it, but it's been featured quite a bit. And yeah, it's just there's not a shortage of any evidence. I mean, and some people go to insane asylums and stuff like that. I think jails, even if they're not that big, I mean, I think that it's just more of a more localized. You know what I mean? It's not so much of a where you need 20 people to go to a insane asylum because of the fact it's so vast and so big. Yeah, I mean, so like would you say that an investigation preference would be? Do you like insane asylums? Do you like jails? Do you like houses? Do you like or is it just all pretty much the same?
I mean, for me, it's something that has a story to it that you can unlock.
Okay.
So we do a lot of research on the locations that we go to or that we court to try to go to, and every one of those locations has something,
Mhm,
that is
mhm.
interesting to it, or maybe there was a death that occurred there that was not fully explained, or maybe there was, there's something that maybe we can add to the pot by
Mhm,
going there. So
mhm.
I love that, and I love the iconic locations, the ones that everybody talks about.
Right.
And I mean, I guess I mean, I love doing residentials too. I mean, there's a certain feeling that you get when you're able to help somebody,
Yes,
you
that's the
know,
biggest
and
difference.
it's
Yeah.
it's huge. And
Mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm.
to know that you can make a difference in their life. So I guess, just having the best of all the worlds,
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
me, like being able to do it all really makes it fun,
Right.
in a
Right.
way. It keeps me going for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Now
Now,
the black
are
mold, I don't
you
know about that, but
are you? I'm assuming you're gifted.
I am.
Okay. Because
I
I
mean,
was I was kind of told that early on in the conversation.
I kind of suppressed it a long time, and then I started doing a podcast with Bernice Golden, who is a legendary psychic,
Mm-hmm.
over 53 years of psychic mediumship. She worked with Barbara Bush.
Yeah.
She did a lot in her life, and I feel very connected with her, and I feel like even in death, it's like the force for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
with her, like she
Yeah.
comes through a lot for me, and like she's like kicks me in the ass from the
Yep.
afterlife,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
listen to your intuition, listen to this.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he's actually come through on my spirit box at the Hinsdale House, and this was years later, and
Yeah.
it was, and I was in the middle of doing a live feed, and she started coming through, and I heard her voice, and her husband was listening, and he said, that was definitely her, and she was swearing. She had a foul mouth off the air. She always had a foul mouth, and she's probably going to kick my ass for saying that, but
Yeah.
she helped me, to be able to push forward with that. And it's not, it's something that I utilize for myself more than I utilize.
Right.
If I can use it to help somebody, I kind of do it in a nonchalant way,
Right. Right.
just with guidance, if they're needing it.
Yeah. I mean, when we first started the conversation, I had this female in my ear saying, "Do you know that he's gifted?" And I kind of had this,
She would
yeah,
always she would always
yeah,
say that and push me. And
yes, yes,
while we were doing live, like what we're doing right now, and we would have 1,000 people there in the chat room, she'd be like, "Oh, you answer this one, Dan." I'm like, "What? What?"
yeah, yeah,
Put me on the
yep,
spot,
yep, 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 yep.
she always used to do that to me, and then she would either tell me, think this way, or she would talk to me after and say, think about this, or and she
Hmm.
really just pushed my mind to the max with that.
That's awesome that you have that outlet, And you talking about her cursing or her swearing, and I heard her say, "He's not wrong in that." He's like he's right on. He's correct on that. But yeah, I mean, it's just very boisterous
Oh
lady.
yeah,
Very. I mean, oh my
yeah.
gosh. I mean, it's just like,
And this happens a lot when I speak to a medium, psychic.
yep.
They'll walk up to me and go, I don't know if you want me to tell you this, but there's this lady. I go, oh, Bernice,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No, no. She was in my ear early on. I mean,
yeah,
so, I mean, which is fine. I mean, I have no problem with that. I mean, it was just the fact that, um, my own gifts or reservations, and because I don't want to call anybody out, you know what I mean. I'm just kind of because this is the first time I met you. I don't want to sit up there and say, hey, but no, yeah, that's why I kind of nonchalantly said, you have gifts. It's just so, and I think that's awesome that you do that because that is your life's path,
yeah,
and you know that.
mm-hmm,
And so, everybody, like I was telling another friend of mine today, and I said, everybody has their own life path. Everybody has their own thing that they're doing, and we all interacted because we're all connected at this energy. I said, so we all do this because of the fact that we are connected. So there isn't one individual that does not have an own individual life path. People can't go through life and just be, you know, nonchalant and don't care about anything. There's people out there like that, but everybody has their own life path, and a lot of people don't know that.
yeah.
So
And it's a lot of having faith in yourself
yeah,
and
and
having faith
that's the
in.
biggest thing. Yeah, having faith in yourself, having confidence in yourself. I mean, just like last night when I had Brandon Crody on and Jason, and he kind of put me on the spot, and I ended up giving a small reading to somebody in the comments, and
Right.
it was fine, and I did it, and everything worked out all right, but that was something that I needed to do, and I know that I'm going to be doing more of that. And because that's part of my life path is not only being a medium to help people, but be able to um, focus on the positive energy that I want to be able to bring out and reach towards people. So with the paranormal, I want to be able to educate people. And I think, by having you on here and having people know all about the Hinsdale House and know about its history and this and that, where a lot of people do not know. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
feel that I can help bring that information to these people and so that they know. And, it's about educating people, especially in the paranormal field. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
If they're willing to be educated, or if they're willing to even listen.
yes, this is true. And there's a slew of them that are not interested in education, but interested in um, clout
Yeah,
or popularity
but we
or
don't. I tend to not surround myself around those type of people, and
yep,
work
yep.
with the ones that are in my bubble. And it's a big bubble.
And I'm sure
Mhm.
that you have a little bit of a directive too from somebody else. We just talked about that. We'll let you know if there's somebody that's in your circle that's probably not the best thing either. You
What do
know,
you mean?
well, I mean, if you have what the lady we were talking about who was
Oh,
in my
Bernice.
ear, yeah, you know what
I,
I mean.
I've always had that gift to really feel people out in a way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I trust my instincts, and
Right.
but I don't act on them. I let things fall out the way that they're supposed to fall out.
Kind of just transpire the way they are. Yeah.
And then that person either regresses or moves forward, and I'm not going to let that bother me, because that's the path that they took with
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
um it is what it is, like it's
Right.
not going to affect me one way or another,
Right.
because I just have to keep leading a positive life, and working with people, and
Mm-hmm.
being a positive role model to people, and
Right. Right.
that's just what I do. Like, I
And
try to build the bridges, but if somebody wants to take a different path, that's
yeah,
on them, like that.
I've seen quite a few crash and burn quite often.
Yeah, and
You know
it's
what I
gonna
mean?
happen. I mean,
But
you can
it's
sit back and watch it.
yeah, yes. But in my aspect that and the view of that is, I've always wanted to help people ever since I can remember, since I was little. Um, I always had that longing to help people, and even the people who wanted to crash and burn.
Yeah, me too.
You can't save everybody. And that's
I've
just
taken quite the path to where I am today in helping people. Like, it seems to me like I've always been drawn to healers.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So whether it
Hmm.
be a nurse, whether it be somebody in the medical field, whether it be a psychic medium, I've always connected with these type of people in my life. That's who I've dated. That's who I've married. That's who I've
Yeah.
worked with.
Yeah.
And they, it got to a point where I was trying to help them so much
Hmm.
that they couldn't help themselves anymore. And then I'm like,
Right. Right.
what
Right.
am I doing? Like, I should focus this energy on myself.
Well,
And
maybe that was the lesson you had to learn.
it was a lesson, definitely a lesson I had to learn.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
seemed, once I started believing in myself as opposed to trying to push other people, is
Hmm.
when I elevated myself to a different level, as far as like buying a house, going on
Right.
paracons, writing a book, all these
Hmm.
things that I thought in a million years that I wouldn't be able to ever accomplish,
Right.
happened
Right.
real fast.
Right. Right.
And meeting Bernice, and then just having that podcast, just everything just fell into place, and I don't take it for granted.
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Right. It's
it's
an awesome feeling once you know that you're on that path and focusing on you know not so much on everybody else, but realizing that you can build your confidence and that you got to do what you got to do and you can do this. And I had to come to that and just say, okay, I can do this. I need to do this. And yeah, helping people is one of my main things that I like to do. But yeah, it's that old saying of, you need to tend your own yard before you tend to somebody else's.
Yeah,
Yeah, So
there's nothing wrong with that.
no,
Nothing
nothing at
wrong with
all.
it at all.
No.
And
You, you, you
sometimes you need to meditate and have a certain peace of mind with yourself before you can even help somebody.
oh,
Like,
totally. Oh
there's
yeah.
things that you get brought up that are like, wow, this is on my plate now.
Right. Right.
Really
Yeah.
need to help this person, or figure something out for this person, because it's like,
Yep.
it's a lot.
Yep.
And nobody ever thinks like you, Jay. Nobody ever thinks when they're asking you for help, does he have other things going on in his life? Does this, like everybody has their own life too.
Right.
And nobody worries when somebody's coming to you with issues. Nobody's worried about anything that you may have going on.
Right.
So you really need to be able to find that inner peace with your life in order
that balance.
And that balance in order to really help people.
Yeah,
Because if you can't help yourself first, you can't. I don't feel like you can help somebody else.
Right. There's been times where people have come to me and and my spirit basically says, yeah, this is not in your ball game. You can't help this person, or you can't. There's other things that you need to do first, or you need to, and come to find out that there's somebody else that was, not to say they were more qualified, but more a better fit for that person to work with the other person to help them. And I get that a lot too. There's certain people that, like you're talking about this inner circle, trying to surround yourself with that love and light kind of aspect. And I just, I live by that whole, you get back what you give out. You give all this energy and this love and this positive stuff, and people, can come to you and be like, spiritual vampires and just suck you dry. And I've ran into that my whole life.
As long as you go in with no expectations, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And then if something positive happens in return, that's great. Right. But you can't go in with a helping attitude, thinking that, oh, it'll come back tenfold, because that's not the purpose of what you're doing. You have to be able to. Right. If you're going to give, then you're going to give, and if something positive happens in the long run, that's great. But it can't expect
it. That expectation of that is and it can be basically a hinder. I want to be able to. I believe that the stuff you give out can come back. Would I expect it all the time? No, because when I help people, I don't expect anything.
I've seen people let that turn to anger. Like I did this, and this, and nobody ever. Well, that's because you have your expectations are too high.
Yeah, I have a cousin like that, so I know. So, but let's talk a little bit about really quickly. What was the last Paracon that you were at?
I was the last Paracon.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Or what's the next Paracon you have coming up, I should say?
Well, I have it's hard for me to remember. I have to pull my books out, but there's so many happening and then so many canceled, and then I know one good one that I have coming up is Mid-Michigan Paracon in November. I canceled. I was supposed to be speaking at Michigan Paracon this year. The one of the best ones is in September. That's the New Jersey Para-Unity Expo.
Okay.
I was supposed to. There's the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I'll promote them still. The Gettysburg Battlefield Bash is an amazing con to go to. All the proceeds go to the Wounded Warriors Association. And it's in Gettysburg, and it's the end of this month, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the Michigan Paracon in the Upper Peninsula, and it's an amazing con at the Kiwadons Casino. And it's just like hanging out with family for the weekend. And the reason I canceled that is because of a family obligation. Like last year, my family decided to book a family trip, and it's a cool one because all my sisters are going, all my nieces and nephews are going, and my mom and dad are going, and we're all going as a family to the Outer Banks, and we rented like a 14-person home with an elevator and a movie theater and on the beach, and it's a once in a lifetime thing, and that was my priority. And with everything that happened with COVID, that's something that I don't take for granted.
Right.
So I'm doing those, but the New Jersey Para-Unity Expo in September is amazing, and if you haven't been able to go, it's only $20.
Oh, wow.
And that gets you in to meet everybody that they have coming. They have an amazing list of celebrities coming. Great like events for you to attend. And it's a meet and greet, and you can go in and meet everybody and talk, and there's VIP parties and dinners, and it's awesome.
How long is that? Is it 2 days?
It's a 2-day event, Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Okay.
The event itself is only on Saturday, but there's a VIP party on Friday night and Saturday night, and a couple of ghost hunts that you can attend as well at local, around the area in New Jersey.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, the East Coast is on my bucket list. So I I want to go to Salem. I want to go to.
See, now I have an idea for you. So for the wife, in order to get your wife to agree to these, you got to start looking at romantic things around the areas of these hauntings that you want to go to.
There you
Like,
go.
hey, honey, let's go to Hinsdale House and Niagara Falls. Like something like that.
There you go. Hey, that's a good idea. I'll have to definitely keep that in mind.
Let's swing through Hinsdale, and then we'll spend the day in Niagara Falls and hold hands and go on the Maid of the Mist, and
right on. That's awesome. Yeah. So, you want to let everybody know where they can find you at?
Yeah. I mean, I've tried to make it pretty easy. So it's just my name, danielklaes.com, and I've attached everything that I'm pretty much associated with to that. Any of the events that I'll be at will be listed there. Any of the public events that I have going on will be listed there. My store, the Hinsdale House merchandise, all of that goes to help with the restoration of the house that we're doing. So it's
Okay.
we have some cool designs, and we change up the designs and stuff like that. Some cool merch and stuff. Actual pieces of the house, like I've had Nick sign them, and we have those for sale. T-shirts, cool stuff. So memorabilia and stuff, and then other people that I support, I link up there. Like I made a page for Melody Knapp, who's on my ghost hunting team with me with Ghost Finders, and then Madison Smith, who's a teen investigator. You're probably familiar with her, right, out of Iowa.
Okay.
You've heard of her before?
Which one is it?
Madison Smith, Madison
Yeah.
Paranormal. So she's actually going to be coming to the Hinsdale House in 14 days. To lead an investigation. They've interviewed her on the local news stations here, and she's doing really well as far as her quest goes in the paranormal. She's learning, and she's a teenager, which I think is amazing. She brings a lot to the plate when she's investigating. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah,
over here.
That's fantastic. Now you said that. Do you have a store too?
An online store, yeah.
Okay, what's the name of that?
DanielKlaes.shop, or you can just go to DanielKlaes.com, and there's a link there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of stuff do you have in your shop?
I distribute Haunted Magazine in the United States, so I have copies of that. You can get subscriptions for Haunted Magazine, or you can get back copies if you're interested in that, digital copies. I have T-shirts, sweatshirts. I think I even have a pair of Hinsdale socks in there. I mean, there's a lot of cool different clothing lines that we've done, different designs, Bigfoot, UFO, Hinsdale theme things, and I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff. There's memorabilia in there, like when we were renovating the house, we had pieces of the house that were left over, so we cut them up and had them blessed and had them signed, and people can buy those. A lot of people like to collect stuff like that. So
right, yeah.
There's memorabilia in there. There's my book is in there. Clara Dandy's book is in there. The lady that lived in the house in the 1970s wrote a book called Echoes of a Haunting. You can get that book. You can get Paul Kenyon's book, who was there during the exorcism. That they're there. You can get that book as well. So I mean, it's pretty well rounded. Online store.
Yeah, the online store. That's awesome. So talk about the Haunted Magazine. Are you're part of that, or you just sell that?
No, I'm part of it. I mean, I mean, I'm not. I'm the distributor in Canada, United States.
Okay.
So I have a deal worked out with them. They're from England, where they send me XYZ amount of copies, and then I get them to the people a lot quicker than if they're shipping them from England, and at a cheaper rate, since all the shipping and the taxes and stuff like that. To send over each copy it was costly.
Right.
So, I'll have 1,000 of them sent over, and then I take care of all the subscriptions for the United States and Canada, and then take care of any new subscriptions that come across, take care of signings. So if say Nick Groff was on the cover, he would be able to sign copies of those, and we could sell autographed copies. Ghost Brothers are on the cover right now.
Right,
The
right.
Ghost Brothers are on the copy of the front of
That's
it right
cool.
now, and it
Now, have
comes
you
out
met the
quarterly.
Ghost Brothers?
I have.
Okay, are they pretty cool? I mean, I
They're funny guys.
are
They're
they?
funny guys. Yeah, they have a good time with what they're doing for sure.
Right,
They
right.
have good joking personalities,
Yeah,
and they got killer
yeah,
smiles.
yeah. I've been trying to get one of them on my show now for probably 3 months, and so no avail, to no avail. But I won't give up. So because I love those guys. I mean, those
Who have
guys
you
are.
talked to?
Hmm?
Who have you talked to? Hit me up
Yeah.
when we're done, and I'll get you another contact.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, that would be great because yeah, more contacts the better.
Yeah.
And like I said, I I just think this is what you're doing for like the Hinsdale House and the community itself. I mean, that's what really speaks to me is what you talked about. Helping out the house. Let me speak for a second. Having the house and helping the community and being involved in the community. That's just something that is, you know, not too many people do that. I mean, it's just I just think that you're one of a kind in that aspect, and I think that is really really awesome that you do that. I mean, it's just especially helping the community. Being from a small community myself.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give what you put into it, what you want to take out of it, and I think that holding people back isn't going to help the field.
Right.
It's not going to help what we're trying to do, and holding back somebody or discouraging somebody from doing something or thinking a certain way just isn't in my forte. And I actually frown upon like when I see people getting scolded or getting um, told that this isn't the way things should be done, or you got to think about how you approach people.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how you give people information, because there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always a way. Just think about how, if somebody was talking to you, how would you want to be spoken to?
Yeah.
Whether they're wrong or right, at least they're thinking, and
Right.
at least they're trying.
Mm-hmm.
And to discourage somebody from doing that is not in my forte.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always going to help, and I'm always going to try to connect people, and I'm always going to try to help everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. If I can be of any assistance, I try to. Like what do I have to hold back people back from?
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, so I'm trying to kind of like a bridge builder, if you will. A lot of people have always told me that I build bridges.
Well, I would probably agree with that. Just from what you've told me. I mean, it's an amazing thing that you know it's got to make you feel better that or feel good that you're actually helping people, and helping everybody that even in the community and this and that. I mean, it's just I,
I don't know. I
that's
don't look at it like a lot of people praise me for what I do, but I don't know. I just look at it as being me, and I don't know. Like, I don't want to get praised for being
right.
a
And
good person. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that that's normal. I mean
yeah,
I mean I think that is normal because of the fact that I would probably agree with you with that people would say kind of similar things to me, and it's just like I'm just being me, you know.
yeah.
But it's hard for me not to say something nice to somebody like that and say I think it's a
Yeah,
great
I mean,
thing.
certain things you get your heartstrings pulled sometimes, and you put more
Yeah.
effort towards certain things. Like this weekend, we were doing a fundraiser in Bryan, Ohio, and I wasn't able to attend, unfortunately. But I know we raised what, $3,600, I was told, for the family. That Brian Felicia, has cancer, and he's one of us. He's in the paranormal community, and he's a family guy. He's
Hmm.
got his beautiful wife and his kids, and just we can come together for stuff like that. And I think altogether between Jeff Fent and myself and the fundraiser is probably well over $6,000 we've raised total for
Oh
him.
wow.
And I think that that's what we can do if we put our minds to it,
Hmm.
to help people. Like we can come. If I like, do you ever say like, man, if everybody gave $1, this person would be fine. Like
Yeah.
so many people. Like,
Yeah.
we can do that. I mean, we can help each other.
Yeah.
Like, people. He doesn't have to worry about like how is he going to pay for his next cancer screening, or how's he going to put food on the table for his kids because he can't work, or like, let's help people like that, good people, get through things, and not
Hmm.
discourage them.
Right. Right. And I think that, and just like the paranormal field and the paranormal family. I mean, there's so
That's it.
many great people out there that are just like that. You know what I mean? So, and that's, after I got rid of, a couple years ago, when I got rid of all stuff on there that was all about politics on Facebook, I said, I'm going to surround myself with what I love, and that's paranormal. And that's what I surround myself with now. And I have great supportive people and friends, and people that I never thought I would be friends with are good friends. And, so, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's all what you surround yourself with, and
Right.
the world is kind of an ugly place, but as long as we could try to make it as beautiful as we possibly can, then, at least we would have left something positive. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we can all evolve one way or another. And
yep.
if there is
Mhm.
another life that we live, and we
Yep.
have to either regress or move forward, I mean, that we need to keep pushing.
Yeah.
So I
I would
said you need to
agree.
get to the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's harder. You need to get out here.
I know. I do. Yeah. All right, Dan. It's about the end of our show, and I want to thank you very much for such a great podcast. You're an awesome guest, and you can find Dan, especially with the Hinsdale House Project, Restoration Project. Like that page, I did. It's pretty sweet. Hopefully next week I will have somebody. Yeah, I I've got so
The
many people
suspense
on.
is killing me now.
No,
It's Dalen Spratt, everybody. Dalen
yeah.
Spratt next week.
I think it's Michelle. She's from Iowa. Yeah. God, I'll have to remember.
So Michelle from Iowa next week, folks.
Yeah.
Make
Right.
sure that you tune in.
Right.
It'll
Yeah.
be a good show.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dan.
All right, no
And
problem. Anytime.
thank you, everybody, for watching, and hope to do this again.
Absolutely. Keep me posted.
All right. Well.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah.